Hi, everybody. Hi, intrepid viewers. So glad you're back. Also, any other people cruising through this channel for the first time? You are now a trendsetter. Welcome to Tarot Down Under. So, first of all, I want to point out that a couple of days ago, I did a collaboration with Linda G, the goddess, and it's on SHEILA from Celtic Tarot on her channel, so check it out. We covered a lot of territory. SHEILA, I think, is a great reader and a fabulous woman and a great addition to the tarot family. So big shout out for organising that, SHEILA. Thank you. Okay, so what I want to read on today, the people, the managers of the impeachment trial want Trump to testify. And even though he's got the worst lawyers in America, we know that because they can't spell cat and they haven't worked out the spell check function on their computers. So would you want them representing you? They keep putting in these depositions with gross misspellings. You know, it's like, what's the name, that dreadful, Marjorie Taylor Greene or whatever her name is. She misspelled district 3 times. I put the challenge to you, intrepid viewers. Can you really even think of 3 ways to misspell district? Call me old school, but they're the same. They have said no, he won't testify. You can imagine the behind the scenes. So my first question is, did he want to? I'm using the circus cards because even though it's a serious issue, it is such a circus. The GOP didn't want him to, but did he want to? Did the demonic, lecherous, horrendous 45, aka the Yeti, want to testify? Yeah. Of course he did. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. King of Wands. This actually reminds me of Trump's grandfather, who famously made money running brothels on the Yukon, setting in place the family tradition. But the energy of this card is, yeah, I'm the guy with all the answers. The Strength card, he's convinced. I'm wondering if he might still insist on testifying even. That'd be weird. But anyway, he's convinced his strongest suit is when he speaks, because that's been his experience, going out to these places and people adoring him. He's craving and missing the spotlight. So he really wanted to do it. He sees himself as the lion here. And we're not finished with the big cats. The Sun. You see, he's absolutely convinced his best case is through his own lips. Now, the GOP knows, as we know, as everybody knows, he can't string 2 sentences together, and he'd put his foot, or in this case, his paw, in the doo-doo. So the offer he didn't want, disenchanted, he was forbidden to speak. He was forbidden to speak, but he really, really wants to be out there. And now he hasn't got Twitter. He must be beside himself. Oh, my word. Okay, so no, he's not, but he wanted to, still does, still wants to. Okay, what's the next thing? Merrick Garland, what's going to happen with that confirmation that seems on virtual hold forever? He hasn't been the luckiest dude in it. I don't know if I even like Merrick Garland. Tell me if I'm wrong, intrepid viewers. Something about him, I don't know. But let's see. Broadening out these confirmations might be a better way to go. Merrick Garland and the other confirmations. what's going to happen there? I mean, obviously, once the Dems have the Senate fully in their sway, but what's happening? What's happening? And then I'm reading on the economy. The GOP's still got a bit of sway. Look, he will get through, as will their nominations eventually. But the Republicans are going to do their best. It's literally the Republican elephant. They're going to do their best to block everything they humanly can. So the Four of Pentacles, they're holding on to the last vestiges of power. Merrick Garland might prove me wrong, I hope he does, and be a bit of a star, or at least his case will be the star case that will break the logjam, if you like, and they'll start getting more through, because following straight on the heels of that is the Justice card. So justice will prevail. Okay, now I'm going to read on these stimulus checks and the hold up and all of that. And so I'm going to move to the Russian cards, because part of the hold up, I think, is because so many of this current stable of GOPites, it goes back to, remember when Pelosi said, and it's probably 3 years ago now, at least 2 years ago now, she said it all goes back to Russia, right? And those guys that all went, guys and gals, went over. Everyone else in the world knows if you're staying in Russia, you are being observed. And if you've got any power and influence in your own country, you can be triple-decker sure you are being surveilled, and anything they can find will be used. Oh, I must read on Navalny too, the opposition guy. Okay, so we're now looking at what's happening with the stimulus package and the GOP still dragging its heels. The Dems are having problems with in-house too over this, but it's mainly a GOP problem. So what's happening with the stimulus? Well, justice is in the centre. This reminds me, even though it's a redhead with the beard, the energy reminds me of Bernie Sanders. And he came out, I think yesterday or even today, saying these Republicans that are holding up this are the ones who put through a $1.9 trillion, that'd be with a T, $1 trillion sweetheart deal with the wealthy. So this is about it coming back. And I think Dems have to talk in these terms more, because the argument always, I digress, intrepid viewers, I digress. The argument in Australia, the UK and everywhere is the Conservatives are good with the economy and the opposition, the Dems and the Labor, just want to spend, spend, spend. It's not the case. The deficits always go up under the Conservatives because they take huge amounts out of the kitty by tax breaks to the rich all the time. Everywhere. They do this all the time. And corporate welfare. We're told from birth, you know, Australia's a mining country and coal is king and coal rocks and coal rules and jobs and coal, even though on the ground that's changed dramatically and it employs very few people. We subsidise the coal industry. You know, it's everywhere. So my point being, via Bernie, but it needs to be by more than Bernie, keeps saying, well, you were happy to pass 1.9 trillion for the rich. What about the same for struggling ordinary Americans? Okay. In the past, the devil card, It's more or less what I was just describing. It's that whole thing. People hate just giving money away, even the middle class, because they've been so inculcated forever. Why should I give money to those lazy poor people? The poor people who are being systematically ripped off, first of all through a bad public education system, and then through bad insecure work. Those who are working 2 or 3 jobs, these are not the lazy ones. But it's the devil here, I think, is speaking to that argument. Why should people be helped? It's like people are allergic to helping other people, and then they wonder why there's crime, because people have to do something, right? You know, duh. What have we learned everywhere since they introduced some of these supplements? And other countries are doing heaps better than America, let me tell you. They found, surprise, surprise, because all the conservative modelling says, oh, this is a disaster, you're just throwing money away. No, I think you'll find people spend it, keeps the economy going. So this is, I think, going to challenge that finally, after hundreds of years, really. I think that logic is being challenged. If you pay people well, they then buy houses, they educate their kids, they make for better citizens, give people a working living wage. I'm not saying Gloria, who employs 2 people in a hairdresser, should have to pay the same as Amazon, but I am saying the big companies, the Walmarts, the Amazons and everyone else should be paying a living wage. So the argument now is still that from the GOP, but it's also, oh, there isn't enough money now. Well, we know why there's not enough money. One, there's a global pandemic, and second, because you've given it all away. Duh, why isn't there enough money? It's a nonsense argument that has been dressed up to look really responsible and really grown up. We can't just keep giving money away. You're not. It's disaster relief in a time of abject crisis that is ongoing. Duh. Okay, so the magician, well, who's the magician going to turn out to be? Because I don't have a clue, but someone is going to transform this argument. Someone is finally going to have real cut through with this argument, and it's going to change things. I suggest on a more permanent basis once they do it, but they're still dragging their heels. The card of illusion, delusion, part of the problem, and this is as much as the problem for the Dems as the GOP, people who have good educations, who have wealthy families, who then leave them assets, who can then make those assets grow, and have no idea how the majority of people live. Illusion, delusion. They haven't got a clue. Right? This is part of the problem. So I have to go a bit further and find out, is it coming soon? Because it's almost too late. I mean, it's never too late to get a bit of money, but it's too late to save some people's rentals and all sorts of things, and the cars are being repossessed and all of that. So will it be soon? Will it be soon? Not yet. Hangman. Not yet. The Six of Wands moving to a safer place. I think this is, the Dems will secure something that's realistic. I hear they've cut $600 off the pittance they were already offering. $2,000 isn't going to get most people out of trouble, and $1,400 certainly isn't. But there's a bit of movement in the right direction. But it's a burden getting there, because you are dealing with these really mean, tight-ass people who don't get it. So not just yet, troops. Okay, now I've been asked to read on Navalny, the opposition leader who got poisoned. Germany saved him and he went back. So I can't remember, I may have read on him recently, but I'll do an update. So what's going to happen to Navalny and the opposition to Putin generally? Brave or stupid, don't know, but he's there, he's in jail, he's just been given a 2-year sentence. So let's update. What's the future for Navalny, Alexei Navalny, and the opposition generally? What's the future? Okay, I'm not using a timeline. Oh, this is karmic for Russia. This is the nostalgia. Now, there are many in Russia who may have been brought up under repressive regimes, but they also at least had subsidized government housing and health and other things. This is, I think, a misplaced nostalgia. So this is the like 60 to 80-year-olds thinking back. They're sort of the ones holding it up. The other ones holding it up are the oligarchs. This is the 9 of chalices. I'm all right. What's your problem? Okay. You know, this is that selfishness that is going on. This is not unique to Russia. In Australia, we used to call it in the old days, I'm all right, Jack, meaning I'm all right and you take a hike. And so people have to be taught to be more compassionate, because economically we're all better off if there's less crime and if people are looked after. It's not just a handout. Should be a hand up, but it's not even that at the moment. Look at those food lines in America. Just shocking. Okay. So this is the Page of Swords. Someone's talking, and this is, I think, Navalny talking to the press via other people, because he's obviously in jail and can't. But this is secret meetings, getting information out. This is this is the Wheel of Fortune. This is Russia's karma. Now, they've only had a notional democracy for a few decades. They had 1,000 years of feudal serfdom before that. The oligarchs have strangled the democracy. It's now up to the people to stand up. How much more will you tolerate, or will you not tolerate? So it's in the hands of the people now. So I think we're going to see big changes in Russia, not in the next 5 minutes, but in the next 2 to 5 years, which is also a big time globally. I think we're all going to be asked to lift our game and be part of the new world order that is kinder and more responsible. What about climate change and the French government? 4 environmentalist groups took the government to court for failing to act on climate change, and they won. This is a first, and people are saying this is going to create a precedent in other countries. We are at the beginning of a real watershed. We can all go down more authoritarian regimes, more divisive regimes along the lines of race and class and everything else, or we can go for the positive and start doing things that help other people. My thing is, there's no reason why the poorest counties like Kentucky and Virginia and right through the Appalachians and everywhere shouldn't be doing fantastic deals with the new government, with the Green New Deal. Coal is not coming back. Natural beauty. People could be trained up as forest managers, as rangers, as tour guides. It could be whole new industries that then spin off into restaurants and camping and glamping And it could really bring these economies out of the doldrums. If you just hold on to the old way and hope it comes back, you're looking at the abject poverty that rules these deep red states and is holding them back. And the combination, speaking as a sociologist, of long-term entrenched intergenerational poverty impacts on health. And when you've got a very poor education system, it doesn't get a chance for people to move up and out of that. And that creates the ingredients for the evangelical prosperity gospel types to move in, which is what's happened. So beef up the education, beef up the green jobs. It'd be wonderful in 15 years if people were fighting for green jobs, you know, not fighting to go down a coal mine. So I think this is the future, or at least the potential future. And I'll remind you of a button we used to wear in the 70s. If you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. So be a keyboard warrior, join a few groups, offer your skills 4 hours a week, whatever you can spare. It'll help you feel better. So that's it for now. Go and check out SHEILA Celtic Tarot, the reading with Linda. We had a lot of fun. So I love you guys. Back soon. I'll put the link underneath. Bye.